We are live. This is Imtiaz, Custom GPT AI Automation Academy, your thought partner to build, deploy, and sell GPT chatbots. So, welcome to Python Beginner Tuesdays. Every Tuesday, we do a live session or live stream to cover topics that are beginner friendly in Python. This will fast track your learning in Python, as well as help me go off the cuff and show you behind the scene how I'm solving problems, how to code in Python, and how to basically get started with Python. A lot of people are hesitant when it comes to coding, and they have a lot of limiting beliefs. But I'm here to break all those beliefs because now the AI revolution is here. You no longer need to code. Instead, by understanding a few simple concepts, you can let AI do all the heavy lifting for you. Let me go ahead and share my screen. So as you know, the AI revolution is here. Right now, 99% of people are ignoring the immense potential of AI. They're missing out on a transformation that's reshaping every industry from healthcare to finance. It's changing the way we do business, and we are rapidly evolving to meet to adapt our business with AI. So new models are coming out every day. We want to get updated. We want to understand how to easily integrate that with our business. So imagine being part of the tech boom in the early 2000s or the rise of the internet in the 90s. This is your chance to be at the forefront of the next big revolution. Building AI softwares and agents, custom GPTs, isn't just for tech giants anymore. With tools like Llama 3, Gemini 1.5, OpenAI's ChatGPT, anyone can develop a sophisticated chatbot from their own home. Don't watch this revolution from the sidelines. Be a part of it. So join the Skool community GPT Pioneers Club to get started and start learning Python, start creating AI chatbots, start enhancing your business with AI solutions. Skool.com, custom GPT AAA. Join the revolution. In today's video, we are going to cover some Python beginner-friendly. We're going to get started with Python. We're going to use Google Gemini 1.5 Pro and Claude 3. Okay, to see how we can streamline our Python learning process. Okay, let me go ahead and log in. As you know, 1.5, Google Gemini 1.5 has a large context window. So we can use large blocks of code to solve problems. So if you're working with a code base um, that's that contains a lot of code, you can feed it into Gemini 1.5 Pro and have it explain to you what each line means, or perhaps modify the code or use sections of the code for your coding purposes. Now, we're not going to go into advanced coding concepts. We're just going to cover the basics of Python coding. So what we're going to do, we're going to use a prompt. And as you know, any GPTs, or sorry, any LLMs, like whether it's Gemini 1.5, whether it's Cloud, whether it's GPT, aren't necessarily good out of the box. You have to enhance its capabilities with a custom set of instructions, what we call as prompts. And by using prompts, you can customize the way the LLM interacts with you. In our case, we want the LLM to interact as a Python tutor. Okay, let me show you exactly what the prompt would look like. And then you can use this prompt in ChatGPT, in Gemini, as well as Cloud to help you streamline your Python learning journey. So you are an expert Python tutor, specialized in teaching the basics of Python programming, focusing on data structures and algorithms. You provide clear, concise explanation and practical examples using images to illustrate complex concepts. You're beginner friendly, maintaining a conversational and simplified tone, avoiding overly technical jargons. Designed to be encouraging, you occasionally use light humor to make learning more enjoyable. Additionally, after explaining a concept, you pose questions to ensure the learner understands and can apply the information. You start with a simple concept and progressively introduce more complex ones. Interactive examples are included where learners can predict the output or correct the code snippets. And a feedback mechanism is suggested for learners to submit their answers and receive feedback. You will not delve into unrelated programming languages or advanced topics beyond the scope of basic Python data structures and algorithms. We already covered a basic framework for data structures, uh, how to write functions, how to write for loops, etc. Um, However, let's use this GPT to see if it can assist us to do the same and help us learn some of these concepts faster and much more efficient. So we're going to copy this prompt and we are going to feed this into Gemini 1.5 Pro. Okay. So if you're new to using Google Gemini, you're going to use Google's AI Studio. And when you go to AI Studio, on the right, you will have access to all the models you can use for your AI needs. We are going to use the latest version of Google's Gemini model, which is the Gemini 1.5 Pro. Okay. We're going to write this here. So let's just refresh this. Yeah, the interface isn't as solid as I thought it would be. Okay, let's start with Claude, and then we're going to dive into Gemini a little bit. Okay, so let's see what the So I provided the instruction to Claude, and Claude now provided a response back. Hello there, I'm your friendly Python tutor here to guide you through the exciting world of Python programming. Let's dive into the basics of data structures and algorithms. But don't worry, I'll keep things simple and engaging. So it's taking the instruction from the prompt and it's basically now acting as a Python tutor. So now it has provided me an example of how to create a list in Python. So it's providing not only text, but also code for us to use to plug and play. So we're going to copy this code and we're going to go over to our coding interface, which is Google Collaboratory. Google Collaboratory allows you to code Python in the cloud, no setup and installation needed. You can work with it straight out of the box. And if your computer is not fast, then you can use its cloud computing resources in order to run complex calculations in the cloud. Okay, so we are going to paste this code. And in this case, it is a list. Fruits, apples, banana, cherry, apple, banana, cherry. Okay, so when we press enter or control enter, it starts running this line right here. Let's see what's next. Pretty straightforward. We're just using square brackets and separated the items with commas. Now let's say we want to access the second item in the list. In Python, indexing starts from 0. So we'd use print fruits 1. So we just copy this code right here, go back, and boom. So we're now able to access the second item in the list. As mentioned before, the first item index always starts with 0. That's just how Python works. It's not intuitive, but just keep that in mind. So it'll be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, something like that. So if you were to access the first item in the list, you're going to use 0. Okay, so we are able to access Apple. What if you put a number that is outside the list? Let's say 4. It's going to give you an error, list index out of range. Okay. Now, when you see error messages, don't be afraid. This is just to help guide you to correct your code or perhaps point you towards sections of the code where you need to change. Okay, 0, 1, 2. Let's add another item in the list. Let's say we add mango. Okay, so mango would be the 4th item in the list, but in Python index, this will be 3. It still says out of range 0, 1, 2, 3. Oh, we forgot to run this code. So always make sure anytime you make a change, run it so that it makes those changes. Okay, now you can see it's able to index that block of code. Okay, but what if we want to add or remove items from the list? Python has built-in methods for that. Okay, so we manually added that item, but there is built-in functions so that you can add or remove items. Okay, we already added mango. Let's remove that item from that list. So we're gonna go ahead and do fruits, remove. Fruits is already a list. We've already established it, initialized it. So Python understands what it is. And we're just going to use remove. And then the item will be mango. Okay. Let's go run the code again. Let's just look at the list again. So when you just type fruits, it's going to tell you the list. Mango is removed. Let's append it back again. Now we added that item in the list. See how easy that was? Just understanding the list can open up so much doors in your AI development journey. So, and this is interesting how Claude started with lists and not your traditional methods like print hello world or data types, operators, stuff like that. So Claude definitely understands, as an expert Python tutor, what is essential, what is the 80-20, what will get you motivated and encouraged to keep progressing in your journey in Python. Okay, so now to make sure you're following along, let's try a little exercise. What would be the output of the following code? Okay, so we have a list of numbers. Well, actually, we have a list of numbers in a list. And also notice this. This list had items that were strings. Okay, strings are text data. Apple, banana, cherry. They are enclosed in quotations. But when you have integers, you can just leave them as it is. Now make sure you're following on. Let's try next. Now, what would be the output of the following code? I'd like you to take a moment and write this in your own Python environment, and or you could work out the solution in your head by understanding what the list is, how to index specific items in the list, and what the print function is. Now, if you do not know what a print function is, it's very straightforward. If you have any text that you want the computer to repeat back to you, you can use the print command. And the initiation code for all programmers is hello world. So if you want to know how to have the computer say hello world back to you, you say print, and inside quotations, you're going to write the string hello world. Okay. Print hello world. And you can say anything in this block. Hello, Bob. Right? And it's going to return back that output. So that's the beauty of the print command. And a lot of times in my own code, what I generally do is use the print command for logging purposes. Meaning, when I run line of code, line by line, I want to see exactly what's happening at each stage of the code. Okay, this is a great practice to catch any errors, to catch any kind of issues with your code so you can debug them correctly. Print command helps you with that. So it prints out specific sections of the code so you can see in your terminal what's happening at each step, and you can make those changes. Okay, so let's go back to the code, and I'll leave you to figure out this solution. Now let's interact with Claude a little bit more. I got it. This is easy. Let's move on to the next topic. Okay, so awesome. Glad you got this one. Since list seems pretty straightforward to you, let's move on to another important data structure, dictionaries. Dictionaries are kind of like a list, but instead of being ordered, they store key value pairs. That's incredibly useful when you need to associate pieces of data, the value with a unique identifier, the key. Here's an example of how to create a dictionary in Python. Person, name Alice, age 25, city, New York. Okay, the data is stored as key value pairs. So the name is Alice, the age is 25, so Think of this as a row in a specific table. In that row, the column is name, age, and city. The values are Alice, 25, and New York. So how we use curly braces and key value pairs separated by columns to access the values in a dictionary, we use the keys. Okay, this is also a great exercise. So let's go ahead and copy this code, go back to our environment, and we're going to paste this in. All right. So as mentioned here, we want to print out the name and the age. We want to print, so by specifying just the keys, we can get the values out. So it's able to access a specific key in the dictionary just by calling this command, person name or person age. Okay, let's try this out. Person is a dictionary. So let's try to access a specific item in the dictionary. And the keys for that item is name. All right, let's go ahead and run this. You can also use print, sometimes control, well, in Google Colab, control enter would also give you the results. Okay, print name. So now we can replace this with age, 25. We can replace this with city, New York. Okay, so now we know how to access specific items in a dictionary. Okay, so let's go ahead and move on. We can also add, modify, remove key value pairs. Person job equals to engineer. Person age equals to. Now, here's another hack. If at any point you need more clarification, how does this work? Can you provide me more examples? Okay, Claude can assist you with this. So how about this? Give me, this is too complicated. Give me another example. Okay, it has taken the input that we provided. We said this is too complicated, so it's simplifying a little bit, and it's giving you another example. Now think about the potential for this. If you're still stuck with learning code using books, you're falling behind, my friend, because this is the future of learning. Okay, when you're trying to learn a new concept, you have 100 different ways for Claude, Gemini, GPT, for all these models to help you streamline your learning process. It can break down concepts so many different ways, and in so many ways that so that it helps you understand. For example, you probably come from a background um, specialized in a certain area, whether it's finance, whether it's business, whatever. You can specify to Claude, GPT, or Gemini, hey, can you give me examples from the finance niche? Okay, I'll show you how this works. Give me another example specifically from the finance niche. Okay, let's look at an example from the finance domain. Illustrates the use of tuples. In finance, you often deal with data that represents stock trades. Each trade typically consists of multiple pieces of information, such as stock symbols, the number of shares traded, the price per share, and the time of the trade. We could use a tuple to represent a single trade entry in an efficient and immutable way. So tuples are lists, but you cannot change the items in the list. It's immutable. Okay, so that's literally what it is. So in this tuple we have AAPL, the number of shares traded, the price per share, the time of the trade. We can access the individual elements of the trade tuples using indexing. Symbol equals to trade 0, shares trade 1. So check this out. It's taking elements from that tuple. Now, just imagine this as a list. It will be the same way how you index a list, you're going to index a tuple the same exact way, where 0 is the first item, 1 is the second, 2 is the third, 3 is the fourth. And they're taking each of these items and storing it in something called a variable. By storing it in a variable, you can now have you now have access to this, and you can use this at any point in the code. Okay? For example, let's go ahead and copy this back to our notebook. Let's copy this back to our notebook and run this. Okay? Let's access the second item in the list, which is trade 1. We'll save it in a variable called shares. Check this out. We can now print this. Print shares. And it's going to print that number back to us. If you want to take this even more further, let's go ahead and copy all this right here. Copy all this. It's storing each of these elements in the tuple. And it's putting that into a variable. Each of these items in a variable, storing it. And then when we're using the print command now, we're using something called string formatting. This allows us to combine variables with a pre-formatted text. In this case, trade details, we pre-formatted the text to look like this. And then inside symbol is going to return that variable that we stored, symbol, then price, then time. Let's just go back to Claude and say, hey, look, I am having difficulties understanding string formatting. Help me with that. And also, what is the difference between tuples and this? Okay, string formatting allows you to combine strings with other values like numbers, variables, or expressions. In Python, there are several ways to format strings. One of the most commonly used is the F string, formatted string literals, which was introduced Python 3.6. Okay, so same example, similar format. Hello, my friend is blah, blah, blah. And then inside we have the name, age, years. So the F string, formatted string literals, always start with the F, and then we have the entire string, and then inside curly braces, we'll put in the exact variables. So let's go try this out again. Let's make it really simple. I already stored these items in variables. Okay, let me see if I can print one item. Print symbol. Symbol is not defined. Okay, I did not run this block. Again, error messages will help guide you to fix the problem. It's nothing to be afraid of. Sometimes, it makes you understand, hey, I need to fix this or that. And after hundreds of iterations, it will become second nature how to quickly navigate the error messages. I remember when I started learning coding about 5 or 6 years ago as a data scientist, I realized that a lot of the work was identifying how to read error messages. Because when you find an error message, all you can do is just copy this error message. And back in the day, I don't know if they still have it. They used to have this platform called Stack Overflow. Let me see if they have this. Stack Overflow, where developers learn, share, and build. So this is exactly what I did. I just copied the error message, went to Google, typed Stack Overflow, and pasted the error message. And the first listing that would come up would be how to solve that issue. And usually the best solution would be ranked at the top. So you will get the best possible solution for your problem. And oftentimes the solution itself was so easy, you just needed to copy and paste most of it. But now people have went away from Stack Overflow because you don't need that really anymore, because now you have ChatGPT, you have Claude, you have Gemini, and all you need to do is instruct Gemini. Like for example, I have this error message. I can just copy this, go over to Claude, paste the error message. All right. It's as soon as I paste it, it's amazing how Claude even like formats the whole error message for you before you even send it out. And you say, help me understand. Well, actually, I'll just type it here. Help me fix the error. And then Claude will basically give instructions how to diagnose this error. Issues, the simple variable is not defined because I used it in an example, but it's not actually defined in your code. To fix this error, you'll need to create the tuple representing the trade details first, and then you can access the elements. Here's how you can do it. Okay, so it's giving us that instruction again to copy and paste it over in our environment, create these variables. So we go back to our code. We actually didn't run this block. That's why we had that issue. We're running this block, and now this should work. Okay, symbol. We printed out the symbol. Now let's print out the shares. Print out the shares. Okay, so we know how the print works. How about the F string lateral? So, or it's called the F string formatting, right? So we put this inside. This is basically the structure, how you write this. So use a print command, stretch this out so you have enough space, and then you're going to type F and then start up quotation, beginning and end. Inside, you're going to write whatever text you want to write. Okay, I want to write this text followed by a variable or something, followed by this text. So inside curly braces, if you put symbol, and now let's go ahead and format this a little bit better. If you run this, I want to write this text followed by the symbol. Changes to shares. I want to write this text followed by 100. See how easy that was? Just by changing one item here, you now have access to so many different ways to write your print commands. You can also add another F string right here, which would be, let's say, the price. So you can format this like this. The current, actually, let's make sure it's grammatically correct. The current price of this share, this symbol. Oh, never mind, I got this all backwards. The current symbol has a price of this price. Okay, let's go run this and see what it gives us. The current AAPL, the current stock AAPL has a, let's, the grammar is off today, has a price. The current stock AAPL has a price of 125.75. See how easy that was? You can now incorporate string formatting in your code. Hey, Bishal Dango, glad to see you back in our weekly beginner Python sessions. How are you doing, my friend? And what projects are you working on currently? Let me know, and we can definitely help you streamline your learning process. If you're new to Python, are you a beginner in Python or are you expert? I believe you're expert. So last time you mentioned you're working with some complex projects. Uh, However, there's never a bad time to learn Python, especially with AI. There's so many new packages coming out. You probably heard Meta just released Llama 3. And Llama 3 is open source, which means which just opens up so much opportunities for us to develop AI applications. And recurve function in Python. Okay, yeah. We'll cover the recurve function in another session. Today we're just using beginner level Python. And yeah, we want to get people involved with AI recursive. Okay, with AI development, how you can start building AI applications or softwares just by learning some Python concepts. You can start creating your own chatbots, your own LLM models. So the big tech companies, Facebook, Google, all these companies, they've already done their job. They've already done their part. They're left with the LLM models. That's pretty much where they can innovate further. But now it is up to us to take these LLM models, go to our niche, go to our communities, and make unique solutions. Okay, that's the mindset, what I want the community to think. But Vishal, are you, so what are your goals? So you want to learn the recursive function in Python, but what would you like to do after you learn that? Would you like to develop an application, software, or perhaps you want to get a job in AI development? What is your current goal? You want to develop your web app. That is amazing, my friend. That is amazing. And understand that it's so much easier to create a web app. The other day, I told Gemini 1.5 Pro because it can take such a big chunk of code in the context, right? I gave it some examples of code bases that I was inspired of, and I told Gemini to write a whole application, a Streamlit application, and it did the job. It was so fantastic. Meta AI, I've seen a video where Meta AI, if you tell Meta AI to write a game for you, it will write a game for you, and it works 100%. So we're moving into new levels of thinking, you know, and coding might be dead in 3 years. Your skills might be obsolete. How do you survive from AGI? And that could happen anytime soon. 99% of people will not take action. They will fall behind with AI. So that is just the reality, but we are all adapting. We are all changing. But I'm glad you're taking the first step, Vishal. Creating a web app is definitely the way to go. Creating applications, creating softwares, creating chatbots. You can help the people. You can solve problems. So create solutions. Okay, let's ask Claude. Can you help me understand the recursive function in Python? So what I did with Claude, since you just came in, I added a prompt. So basically, I told Claude to act as a Python tutor and teach the basics of Python programming. Oh yeah, absolutely. I'm going to share this after the session. I'm going to share the prompt. The prompt will be in the description. I'm also going to put this in the chat, Vishal, if you want to play around. So this is, actually this was too big to put in the chat. All right, I'm going to give you the prompt as well as the notebook so you can play around with it after the session and use Claude to learn faster. So let's see if Claude can answer this question, even though it's customized to beginner-friendly coding. Yeah, no problem, Vishal. Anytime, anytime. And if you need any assistance or help, definitely reach out in the community. We have expert AI developers building Streamlit applications, building web apps, Flask, Django. We have businesses working in AI. So definitely there's a lot of members who are in this space. So definitely take advantage of the community aspect. And if you haven't, make sure you join Custom GPT Pioneer Club and start sharing your insights of AI development. Okay. Oh wow! So it gave us something. Certainly, recursion is a fundamental concept in computer programming where a function calls itself to solve a problem. It's a powerful technique that allows you to break down complex problems into smaller, simpler subproblems. However, recursion can be a bit tricky to understand at first. So let's go through it step by step with an example. One of the most common examples used to illustrate recursion is the calculation of the factorial of a number. The factorial of a non-negative integer n, denoted as n exclamation point, is the product of all positive integers less than equal to n. For example, 5 is 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 120. Okay? So here's how we can define recursive function to calculate the factorial in Python. Okay, so it wrote as a function. Now, you could use this code, copy it over in your environment, and you can start playing around with the function. If you know how to run a function, you just press factorial and then put in your number, and it's going to give you that calculation right here. See how easy that was? Now, if this is too complex for you, you can tell Claude, hey, help me provide another example, or help me understand this as if I was a fifth grader, something like that. Let's do that. Help me understand this as if I was a fifth grader. See, there are just so many ways to learn. I mean, it's the opportunities are endless. Now, people could be still learning from books. They prefer learning from books, but imagine sometimes when you get stuck, you don't have someone to guide you throughout the process. And even for me, sometimes some of the concepts are way above my head. Some of them are beyond my niche. Like if you work in finance, you're only constrained to finance terms. By using Claude or using GPT or Gemini as your teaching Copilot, or sorry, your coding Copilot, learning becomes so much easier. Now, I'm not going to read through all this. I'm just giving you an example how you can learn things faster and use the code given to you, all right, to create amazing solutions. Okay. So yeah, Vishal Go ahead and play around with this, create recursive function, create applications that use recursive functions, and report back in our next session what you've learned and how you're using this in your web apps. So we're going to go back to the Python programming beginner concepts. Yeah, anytime. Let's go back to the beginner level Python syntax concepts. So a lot of people have problems understanding JSON structure. JSON is very common when you're working with APIs and you want to send data over to an external API service and getting data back. For example, you're sending data to OpenAI. You want OpenAI to give you a response back from its chat completion function. OpenAI is going to give you back a JSON format, which is a packaged format of data, and you now need to use Python to index that JSON data. How are you going to do this? First of all, you need to understand what JSON is. So let's go back to the beginner level Python syntax concepts. I want to learn JSON structure and how to index JSON structure. Yes, QURL, exactly. And Python has a library called request where you can use the request functions to basically send requests to an external API and then get data back. It's very convenient. I'm going to show you in another tutorial. In fact, my course is coming out this week, and we'll go into more detail in terms of how the JSON structure works. Let's practice with an example. Okay, wait. Let's go back here. I don't know. I don't know if it's me, but I think yeah, if you're coming to this chat, please tell me where you're coming from. What are some of the projects you're working on? And yeah, what would you like to learn today? And if you're liking this video so far, make sure you hit the like button. If you're not subscribed, make sure you subscribe, hit the notification bell. All right, so yeah, I don't know if it's me, but it feels like all the LM models are getting faster, better, cheaper, efficiently, every day, exponentially, and it's just getting so crazy to keep up. Now, if you're the 1% who want to be the pioneers of the AI revolution, definitely join my community, Custom GPT Pioneers, Custom GPT AAA, that's Skool.com, Custom GPT AAA. Let's join the revolution. Let's join the community and develop unique AI solutions that's going to help us be on the forefront of this revolution. Okay. Okay, let's talk about the JSON structure now. Sure, let's go back to Python basics and cover JSON, JavaScript object notation structures, and how to work with them in Python. JSON is a lightweight data interchange format that is easy for humans to read and write and easy for machines to parse and generate. It's often used for transferring data between a server and web application. Vishal, like you mentioned, the web application, you might need a lot of these exchanges when you're creating your web apps. You might have a framework where you're calling in external data from an API to provide a response. First, let's look at the JSON structure. A JSON object is represented as a dictionary in Python, where the keys are strings and the values can be strings, numbers, booleans, lists, or other JSON objects. We already talked about dictionaries. Vishal, do you know how to index dictionaries? I think it's pretty straightforward, and most people understand dictionaries as key value pairs. Okay, so if you have a key such as name, the value would be Vishal, something like that. So in this case, the key value pairs are name Alice, age 25, city New York, interests reading, traveling, coding. Notice it could be a text, it could be a number, the values could also be a list. So it becomes a little bit mind-boggling, right? You're indexing a value and then you're indexing the value of a value. You're going into different layers into accessing a specific components of the data. And that is very important when you're working with chatbots and data that's coming from the APIs, because you want a specific section of the data that comes back and you want to return it back. I covered a tutorial earlier how to use streaming functions in your chatbot. The data we get from streaming functions come in specific chunks from the API. We want to be able to index those chunks and return that. So in order to index it, we need to find out the list, then go inside the list, grab the data, return it back. So once you get it, it's easy, but a lot of people have a tough time grasping this concept. So in Python, you can create a dictionary that represents the same object like this, person, blah, blah, blah. Let's do an exercise, okay? If you're new in JSON, let's try to, but sometimes we don't need to read the whole thing. If you feel confident knowing how it works, what you can do, take that code, copy it, go over to your Python environment, paste it, run it, boom. It's already loaded, ready for you to play around with it. Let's try to access one of the elements in this JSON object. So this is a dictionary. So let's see if I can access this. Alice. Let's see if I can access the age 25. I'm grabbing specific elements from that JSON object. Now, this could be multiple items, multiple rows. So imagine this as a row in a data table, Excel table. Name is a column, age is a column, city is a column, interest is a column. Now you have another row of items, right? It could be name Bob, age 30, city Mumbai, something like that, right? And then you can access all the items or all the rows specific to that column, age or something like that. We'll show you in a little bit. Now let's try to find out the interests. Okay, I spelled it wrong. It gives me a list. Now, how are we going to access the first element in the list? As you know, Python index start from 0, 0, 1, 2, 3. So the first element is 0. It's a little bit mind-boggling, but once you get it, trust me, it's absolutely easy. So let's access the first element, reading. Let's access the second element, traveling. This is third. Okay. See how easy and straightforward it is to start working with JSON data. Now, okay, this is the example I was telling you about, where you have multiple items in that JSON object. So, and it comes in the form of a list. So let's go ahead and use this as our next example. And then we're going to wrap up. This session is 1 hour, and we'll come back again next week to cover more Python basic tutorials to help you get started with your Python journey and be in the forefront of the AI revolution. Because as you know, knowing Python gives you a superpower. Now you have access to open source models. Now you can build AI agents. You can work in your own environment. You don't have to use no-code softwares that are always behind that are always creating Frankenstein bots that never work. So you can create your own chatbots. You can even sell it, start your own AI software company. Okay. So let's go ahead and instead of person, we'll call this people because it's a list of people. Let's run this so it saves. It's stored. Okay, so let's try to read this structure here. So it is a list. As you know, list has elements. So fruits is a list. And if you create a list of fruits, it'll be like, okay, well, I wrote it right here. Fruits, a list of elements. You have different items in that list. Okay. Similar in that kind of format, except each item is a dictionary. Each item is a dictionary. It's still a list, but each item is a dictionary. So you just need to get familiar with using it a couple of times and it will make sense, trust me. So now, Vishal, if you want to, in the chat, if you want to put in how you want to access, let's say the second item, the second row, or how do I say? Yeah, the second item name. How are you going to access this? If you know the answer, put it in the chat, and we're going to figure it out also here in Python. So let's see, people. Let's access the second item. Name Bob, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Now we have access to the second item. Now we need the name only. Name Bob. What if we want to print this? Print this, print Bob. We talked about string formatting, right? Where you can use a string format, pre-formatted template and add in specific variables or text along with it. So the way the string format works, you print, start with the F, and then in quotation, you're gonna write, this is a string formatted text, and inside curly braces, you can just put in all this text right here, all this text that you already figured out how to get access to the text Bob, right? So you just put this inside this curly brace. Let's comment this one out so it doesn't run again. Print. Yes, that's correct. That's correct. This is a formatted text Bob. Okay, so we pre-formatting the text with our own text, and then we're also adding a text that we obtain from that JSON structure. We're combining them together using the F string format. This is a string formatted text Bob. Now, what if we change it to city? This is a string formatted text Chicago. See how easy that is? So this is going to be a big component when you're creating your AI agents and you want your AI agents to respond in a specific way. Perhaps you're creating functions and the end results of that function is a block of text. Okay, so that block of text, you could format it using this format feature. So if you're joining in, let me know where you're from and what projects are you working on. Perhaps we could tailor the content in our next session to help you streamline your AI development journey. So closing off, if you like this video, make sure if you found value in this video, make sure you like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you get notified every time I come online and give you some insights into learning how to code in Python. So finishing off the session. 99% of people are ignoring the immense potential of AI. They're missing out on a transformation that's reshaping every industry, from healthcare to finance. Imagine being part of the tech boom in the early 2000s, or the rise of the internet in the 90s. This is your chance to be at the forefront of the next big revolution. Building AI softwares and agents isn't just for tech giants anymore. With tools like Llama 3, Cloud, GPT, Gemini, anyone can develop a sophisticated chatbot from their own home. So, if you want to be in the forefront of this revolution, join the free community GPT Pioneers Club, where you have access to community members, AI developers, businesses, all working in AI development. So, yeah, to close this off, this is Imtiaz, your thought partner to build, deploy, and sell AI chatbots. Signing off. See you next Tuesday. Peace. Current project is a user-friendly UI for the Muggles. Yeah, keep us updated. We'd love to see your work, and perhaps one of these days we can work out, a coding session together. So that would be fun. Okay, see you guys, and I'll catch you on the next wave.